tons to go over today, and to mention it right at the beginning, yes, Keanu is Shadow. So the trailer for Sonic Movie 3 was recently shown off at Cinemacon to insiders who are currently reporting in live and giving out the information from what they were shown and told about, as well as people from the production who went to talk about the movie, and even Jim Carrey, who submitted a video because he couldn't attend in person. But outside of him, basically everyone was there. Now, one thing I'll say right off the bat is there is a surprisingly large amount of stuff from this to go over today, which these same insiders is how we got the news about Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow. We also got confirmation of some new characters being added and an update on how Jim Carrey's Robotnik will have evolved to the point where he is in this movie, which there's some pretty exciting updates about that too. So yeah, there's a lot of stories I want to cover in this. So without further ado, so that we can get into the first one, if you don't like and subscribe right now, I will fall and slip under the ranks, and soon we could be living in the dark grim reality where the Game Grumps is actually the #1 source of Sonic news, and we simply can't have that. So yeah, like and sub. Also, here's some quick words from the sponsor I use literally every night of my life.
Jeez Louise, I'm feeling tired. I've been editing for like 4 days straight. I need some sleep. Let me turn off the lights. Jeez, it's so bright. Oh. Okay, time to go to bed. Finally, I can get some shut-eye. Ooh-wee, I'm a tired boy. But why can't I sleep? I can't sleep. Every light must be turned off. Every light, every light, every light, every light. Fantastic, now I can rest peacefully. Good night. I don't know why, but I still can't rest at all. But wait a second. I have a Manta sleep mask. I don't see any lights. And even when I open my eyes, I see nothing. This is amazing. I have stopped using and now thrown away all my old eye masks and only use this one every single night when I go to bed. It's my favorite one by far, and you can get 10% off when you use code SONIC. And again, your support also helps me do more deals like this with brands I genuinely love in the future. So thank you, Manta, for finally allowing me to sleep. Now, back to the video.
So this first story begins with the post-event reports from Cinemacon, an event where film companies like Paramount go and show off their newest trailers before they hit the public. They have directors, producers, actors, and cast and crew all show up, mingle around, and talk a bit about the movie, which leads to us getting interesting little tidbits about this film. So this scoop originates mainly from the two outlets discussing film and Game Fragger, and the latter wrote an article called Sonic Was Never Good. Just kidding, the actual title was Sonic the Hedgehog 3 footage description reveals a fan-pleasing change to Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, while discussing film included their synopsis in an article summarizing everything Paramount had to show off at the event. Now, discussing film's report is the shortest of the two, so I'll quickly go through that and cut in when there's necessary info or context to add on, as their particular coverage, while very concise, didn't include all the major new details. So there's some important bits to add. Now, it begins, Cinemacon 2024 only got a very brief look at Sonic the Hedgehog 3 since it barely wrapped production. The brief teaser showed Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik in his lab, but he's gained weight and has let the place go to the dumps with it being full of junk. He's let his hair go crazy and now has a noticeable belly. Robotnik jokingly says that he's been binging carbohydrates, and his assistant, Agent Stone, played by Lee Majdoub, comes in and says, "We found him." Stone presents Robotnik with one of Sonic's blue electric quills, and as he's done before, Robotnik licks it and tweaks out. He yells, "Let's do this," to Stone's face, which then cuts to a montage of Robotnik getting his hair cut by Stone and getting a fresh look with his game-accurate mustache, bald head, and depraved-looking eyes. And this isn't the only report that specifically uses the words depraved to describe how his eyes look, so I don't know what they mean. Now, before we go into the next part, I love that we're finally getting a fat Robotnik here, at least for a part of the film. And with this likely being the last time we ever see Jim Carrey as Robotnik, it's great to know we'll finally get a game-accurate, or at least evolved to Eggman level, Jim Carrey Robotnik. Now, they continue their recap with the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 footage, then cuts to Robotnik and an entire gang of henchmen, all armored with laser guns, waking up Shadow the Hedgehog in a cryotube. Shadow opens his eyes, which are bursting with red electric energy. We then cut to Sonic, played by Ben Schwartz, Tails, Colin O'Shaughnessy, and Knuckles, Idris Elba, facing off against Shadow in the middle of a huge city street at night. Shadow is noticeably silent, as it's still not revealed who the voice actor is, which we we now know. It's our boy, John Wick, Keanu Reeves, Bill and Ted. I don't know which one of the two he is, but discussing film continues our trailer recap with Knuckles jokes that this new hedgehog is much stronger than the last one he faced, to which Sonic hilariously replies with, "You mean me?" The real money shot of the footage is Shadow the Hedgehog riding a motorcycle in the night sky over some skyscrapers and then using it to bounce himself towards Sonic, who's flying upwards at him at full speed. We see Sonic's bright blue power clash with Shadow's bright red energy in the night sky, looking like it's straight out of an anime. The final shot of the exclusive footage showed Robotnik and Sonic away from a portal ring on an empty road. They both look grumpy and like they can't stand each other's company, implying that they're going to have to work together to defeat Shadow. Which is a lot to take in, and there's even more. But one thing I want to know is Shadow's motorcycle, which I hoped would return, is now definitely confirmed. The real question is whether or not Shadow is going to be wielding a blicky in this one. Currently, it's like 50-50 as of now, but honestly, leaning towards no. Maybe it's like 20-80. Now, one insider at Cinemacon, Jeffrey Harris, mentions many of the above things reported, but adds something really interesting in a tweet reading, "It looks like Robotnik unleashes Shadow the Hedgehog in his fight against Sonic." Knuckles says,
"He's far more impressive than the last hedgehog I faced."
And he repeats the "you mean me" thing. It looks like Robotnik and Sonic begrudgingly team up at some point, which this is just the teaser trailer, so it's probably early on if it's shown in that. And it does sound crazy and like a possible spoiler, but they wouldn't show it in the teaser trailer if it was a spoiler, right? Right? And we even get a little more info on this from a response to another user who is also surprised by this and wrote, "Robotnik and Sonic team up?" To which the original poster, Jeffrey, responds, "Yes." He bumps into Sonic and says,
"Watch it, dorcupine."
Now, what they're teaming up for, nobody knows yet. Presumably Shadow. However, a random user asks, "Ooh, teaming up to stop the Ark or to beat Chaos?" To which Jeffrey responds, "Unclear." But I threw this tweet in here because I think both of these scenarios are possible for this film, and we already know from the storyboards that a ship that looks just like the Ark is confirmed to be involved. But if Chaos was there as well, and they're combining both adventure stories, and they write it in so that's why they have to go to the Ark, since we do know it's after Shadow is awoken. And if you are curious about that storyboard, I made a video covering those leaks. Here's a time card if you haven't seen it. But now, because again, I personally want to be open and transparent with my coverage, so to be clear, I'm not sure at all if Chaos is here. It's honestly probably unlikely. However, I do think the Ark is going to be involved in some way. But with there supposedly being time travel in this film, dude, I have no clue what's going on with the Ark here. Now, Jeffrey also gives some final comments on the topic of Robotnik, with someone asking if Robotnik's suit in this one is entirely game accurate, to which he responds writing, "It didn't strike me as 100% game accurate," which makes sense to me, as at the end of the day, it is a movie. However, this is pretty close to the game one, and while the outfit may not be one-to-one exactly the same, I'm still excited nonetheless to see how Jim Carrey pulls off this final evolution of Eggman. Now, one thing I want to mention right now is that this is just a teaser. While there is apparently a somewhat big surprise in this trailer/teaser that they don't want to say yet, it seems unlikely to be Amy or Rouge, but at the same time, there's a lot of rumors about Amy being in it, and insiders are just saying it's a big surprise. They're not saying what it is. So I doubt they're in the trailer, and that doesn't mean at all that they're not in the movie. But this is the very first teaser. It's still very early into the movie's rollout, and they don't want to blow their load and give out everything too early. To which our insider Jeffrey was asked about this, and I agreed with what he said, which was, in regards to Rouge and Amy, they were not in the teaser. It had Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Shadow, Robotnik, Agent Stone, and GUN agents. And after that, he followed up with a fan, heartbroken about the lack of Amy, with Jeffrey responding, "It might not be a good time to introduce her yet," which, with this not even being the main full trailer, I can understand why they didn't want to have every single thing that they haven't shown off yet in this and unveil everything all before the very first full trailer. Now, this movie's rollout is a little different from Sonic Movie 2's, because Sonic Movie 2 didn't have a teaser trailer. They just had the logo reveal and then the full trailer at the Game Awards. But with Sonic Movie 3, we're going to be getting this little teaser before we get the full trailer. How short it is, nobody's given it an exact time yet, so we don't know. Now, with how much was shown in that first trailer for Sonic 2, I have a lot of hope for this. As with the original Game Awards one that unveiled Knuckles, we still got some new stuff without seeing everything, like the Diag robot. And this movie is looking to scale even higher than that one, so they're doing everything they can to keep this production extremely tight-lipped, meaning nothing is getting out. And outside of those storyboards, nothing's really gotten out. Now, this is something a lot of people want to talk about, but I want to talk about Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow. So John Campy put this out, and it also got confirmed by The Hollywood Reporter, so it's definitely legit. But even though we haven't heard it, it appears for 100% certainty Keanu Reeves will be voicing Shadow in this movie. And I know a lot of people wanted a game voice actor. I personally wanted either David Humphrey or Jason Griffith myself. But regardless of that, they did say they wanted to go with a Hollywood voice actor a while ago, so this shouldn't really be a big surprise to anyone. And with how even a traditional actor like Idris Elba was fantastic as Knuckles, I have a lot of faith in Keanu here. Keanu has a very gruff and deep, while albeit somewhat monotone voice. However, with proper direction, which they absolutely nailed previously with Sonic 2, I believe Keanu could potentially be really fantastic in the role of Shadow. With that, I'm going to keep covering Sonic movie stuff, Sonic game stuff, and I'm keep going to making these super high effort, premium, fine art. What am I saying? It's Sonic news. But I put a lot of effort into it, so drop a like, drop a subscribe. I can only be the #1 source of Sonic news if you make me that, and I love you. Lots of love and peace. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Subscribe.